Canada's unemployment rate just jumped back up to 6.8%. And at first glance, that sounds like bad news. But here's the twist: Canada actually added jobs in December. So, how can unemployment go up when more people are working? And more importantly, what does this mean for interest rates, mortgage renewals, and household finances heading into 2026? Let's break down what this jobs report is really telling us because the headline doesn't tell the full story. According to Statistics Canada, Canada added 8,200 jobs in December, which actually beat expectations. Economists were bracing for job losses, but the unemployment rate still rose from 6.5% to 6.8%. That's because more Canadians entered the labor force, meaning more people started actively looking for work. Unemployment doesn't just rise when people lose jobs, it also rises when more people feel confident enough to start looking again. One RBC economist pointed out that rising unemployment driven by labor force growth is very different from unemployment driven by layoffs. In plain English, Canadians who were sitting on the sidelines are now starting to believe they can find work again. The worrying scenario would be discouraged workers, people giving up entirely, and that's not what this report shows. Now, let's talk about where jobs are actually showing up because this matters. December job gains were mostly full time jobs, over 50,000 full time jobs added, while part time jobs declined. The big winners in December were healthcare and social assistance, adding 21,000 jobs. Construction saw gains. Manufacturing added about 4,300 jobs, even with trade pressures. Now, the flip side: professional, scientific, and technical services lost about 18,000 jobs. Accommodation and food services also declined. So, if you're in healthcare or construction, this job market probably feels very different than if you're in tech, consulting, or hospitality. The weakest part of this report, and the one that concerns me the most, is youth employment. Canadians aged 15 to 24 lost 27,000 jobs in December. Youth unemployment is now 13.3%. That's down from the peak we saw in September, but it's still historically high outside of the pandemic. If you have kids or if you're supporting adult children like me, this matters. Now, let's talk wages because this is where the Bank of Canada really pays attention. Average hourly wages rose 3.4% year over year. This is slightly cooler than November. That tells us inflation pressure from wages is easing, not accelerating. And that's why most economists believe this report does not change the interest rate outlook for January. This was the final labor report before the Bank of Canada's next rate decision, and both BMO and TD Bank agree on one thing. This report likely keeps the Bank of Canada on the sidelines for the January meeting. So, what does all this mean for real life? It means we're in a cooling but stabilizing labor market. It means rate cuts aren't coming aggressively, but rates also aren't rising. It also means household decisions in 2026, especially renewals, need to be planned, not guessed. This is exactly why conversations around renewals, job stability, and equity matter more than ever. If you want more breakdowns like this without the hype, make sure you're subscribed. And if you're heading towards a renewal in 2026, now is the time to understand how the economy, rates, and your own situation all connect. I'll see you on the next one.